right, good evening, everyone. My name is Jaime Dost. I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you all for sharing this space. So I'm going to jump in with a personal story and just kind of a timeline of my life that brings us to the present day. I lost my parents when I was 4 years old, and after that, my life became a series of survival lessons. I lived with my aunt and my grandmother. Both struggled with their own addictions. Home was unpredictable. Love existed, but it was often unsafe. So when I was 9, I came home and I found my aunt on the ground, blood coming from her mouth as she was seizing. She was having, I think it was an overdose. I was so confused. My grandmother was there. She didn't know what was happening. And somehow I managed to pick up the house phone and call 911. And then I went and I checked to see if my aunt was breathing. And after that, it was a blur. I went into the bathroom, into the bathtub, and I broke down until I heard the bang of the paramedic. And after that, nothing changed. It was back to business as usual in a life where there was drugs, hitting, smoking, alcohol. And all of that continued for a very long time. And so I do have a lot of this written down because there's a lot to say. So I'm going to kind of move through it and be as present as possible. I share this not for a shock factor, but really to share that we rarely know the experience that someone is carrying with them, even as adults and especially as children. And this really shaped my compassion from an early age. It taught me to read rooms, to notice what isn't being said, to understand that behavior often comes from the pain that we can't see. And it also taught me that resilience, it doesn't always look brave from the outside. Sometimes it's quiet, automatic, and necessary. So what saved me over and over again was found family. Starting when I was 5, I flew twice a year to Northern California as an unattended minor to my aunt and uncle's house in Davis. And they are, they have been such a light in my life. They taught me what it is to have a stable home, to have just a sense of adventure. We would go to Yosemite, we went whitewater rafting, and they just had such a vibrant community there. And their name is the Lovings. Like, they just had such a profound impact on my life. I would not be who I am today without that stability in my childhood. When I was 15, my grandma passed away, and my aunt could no longer care for me. So at that time, I was adopted by my best friend's family, the Hagermans. So they really were with me throughout the formative years of my life, throughout high school, college, my early start to my career. And this really taught me that belonging isn't about biology, it's about presence throughout life. And the people that show up for us can change everything. So before I move forward, I also do want to gently acknowledge something else. Grief has been a constant companion in my life, and that's a part of life. Beyond losing my parents so young, my grandparents, my aunt, it was incredibly complex, my relationship with my aunt. And when I became an adult, I had to create distance so I could heal, so I could survive and build a life of my own. And she passed very suddenly at the beginning of COVID. And grief doesn't always arrive neatly. Sometimes it comes with unfinished conversations or silence that we never asked for. I lost my best friend, Kat, when she was 22 to cystic fibrosis. And that's just, I've been a part of the cystic fibrosis organization for this time. She was light, pure light and laughter. And being in the room with her right before she passed, playing her favorite song, that moment will live with me forever. And after that, I lost a very close and dear friend, Alex, when he was 34, from a very sudden blood clot. Unexpected, the healthiest, happiest man you would ever meet. And the day after his celebration of life, his backpack was found on Mount Whitney. Him and I and a few friends had climbed Mount Whitney 3 years prior. So moments like that, it really blurs the line of grief and awe. So what those lessons have taught me is grief isn't something that we get over. It's something that we learn how to carry with intention. Processing takes time, permission, and allowing emotions to move through you. And honestly, in whatever way is true to you, it's going to look different for everyone. And we're allowed grace to say goodbye, grace to let time do its quiet work, and to keep people we love alive through memory, through shared stories, and through how we choose to live. So this is something that, I've carried with me in every chapter forward. And, this has kind of become a base of my experience. But, with that, I've always followed and chased experiences. And I often say I've lived many lives. And that is true. I started in luxury hospitality, and I was obsessed with creating moments that would last a lifetime. From there, I moved into events. I did celebrity weddings. I worked coordinating Fortune 100 board of directors meetings and global leadership summits. Eventually, that path led me to a technology startup, and I was exceptionally fortunate to make that transition during the pandemic. So today, I work for Shure, and it's a global company that's been around for 100 years. And this is actually the microphone that I'm speaking into today, is a Shure microphone. So it's just kind of a full circle moment. And one of the most meaningful chapters of my career is I had the opportunity to really build a customer success team that expanded across the globe. And I've had the opportunity to travel to over 10 of our offices across 4 different continents. I speak at conferences with attendees from all over the world, and being in the AV industry, it's all men. So this is very fulfilling and just so touching to share this space with everyone here. And with that, so I've learned again and again that leadership isn't about control, it's about the energy that you bring to it and the connections with people. So, another saying I have is life is a series of trial and error. So, I live that consistently, and it's really how you evolve and what you adapt and learn and grow from that. And, with that being said, again, it's just one of those full circle moments to be able to now be an attendee or a presenter at these events that I used to coordinate. So, I do want to kind of pivot back to just personally one mantra that I gravitate to, something that I say internally that has really helped me, and it's my energy shapes my reality. I'm whole and complete right now, and I'm connected to infinite possibilities. So yoga philosophy lives here too. It's staying present when things shift, root down, but stay flexible, and awareness has guided both my work and my life. So, it feels important for me to say this out loud. I'm still writing my story, and, there is so much possibility ahead, and the lessons that we've learned can be invitations for others. So this is what I want to leave you with. Each of us is responsible for our own healing, our own choices, and how we respond to change. And community amplifies what's possible. An olive branch, a conversation, an introduction, belief offered at the exact right moment. Sometimes reaching the other side, it doesn't look like a big leap. It's taking yourself to dinner. It's booking a solo trip. It's trying something new that you've always wanted to try, but maybe you didn't have someone to go with you. You may be surprised by the experience. And take that time to find what lights you up. Because caring for what is meaningful in your life, it's not just a luxury, it's what it's the ability that also sustains you to show up for those that you love. So, again, I'm just going to close with some words I have from my yoga teachers. Your presence has purpose, your life has meaning, and your existence has value. And simply because you exist, you belong. So again, thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being here. And I really appreciate sharing this space with you. So thank you so much.